Hey guys, welcome to a new What If story. What if Tanjiro was born with a Demon Slayer mark? There is a reason why Yoritichi, the only other person who was born with a Demon Slayer mark, died over 400 years before the start of the series. As such powers are broken, but we will get to that later. After being born, Tanjiro's parents noticed a flame-shaped birthmark on his forehead and instantly knew he was special. For the first few years of his life, Tanjiro didn't talk or even smile, he just observed. Seeing this, Kamadu feared for her son's health, believing her son to be deaf and mute. But there was nothing they could do about it. However, on his 4th birthday, while watching his father perform the Imikami Kagura dance, Tanjiro smiled for the first time, telling his dad that he wanted to try it. Perfectly replicating the dance as if he had practiced it for years. Surprised, but happy that Tanjiro was finally showing emotion and talking, Tanjiro allowed Tanjiro to continue to perform the dance with him all throughout the night. A few years later, when he was 14, Tanjiro went off to the nearby village to sell charcoal so his family could live comfortably, managing to sell tons of charcoal and help the residents. However, while on his way back, an old man stopped him and told him to stay the night as there are demons around. Not wanting to be rude, believing that the old man was just lonely following the death of his wife, Tanjiro decided to stay the night and travel back up the mountain when the sun rises. While sleeping, Tanjiro smells the scent of blood, coming from the direction of his home, so grabbed his hatchet and starting to run up the mountain at high velocity. Fearing that a bear which failed to get enough food to hibernate had attacked his family. However, when he arrived, he saw a pale man in an expensive suit, emanating a pungent scent of decaying flesh and death, comparing his presence to molten marmor about to burst from a volcano. Instantly recognizing the man as a threat, Tanjiro grabbed his hatchet and prepared to fight him. Before he could swing his hatchet towards him, the figure noticed Tanjiro and prepared to kill him as he didn't sense any danger from the boy. However, his face quickly changed from calm to petrified. Noticing the long reddish-black hair, Hanafuda earrings and Demon Slayer mark across his forehead, getting PTSD, remembering Yoritichi. The man tried to escape, swinging his biokinetic tentacles towards Tanjiro, wanting to deal with him before he becomes a threat. However, Tanjiro dodged it. Appearing in front of Muzan within the blink of an eye, slicing through all the tentacles with his hatchet. Before Muzan could even react, Tanjiro used the transparent world to observe Muzan's 7 hearts and 5 brains, realizing he would have to cut them all to stop him. Using a combination of all 12 forms, creating the 13th form, slicing through Muzan, completely dismembering him, leaving him, desperately trying to keep his head in place with the stubs of his arms. Tanjiro then asks him who he is and why he attacked his family, not getting a response, only hearing the grinding of teeth before Muzan exploded into 1800 pieces, scattering in all directions. Not wanting the man who killed his family to escape, Tanjiro desperately slashed at the escaping chunks of flesh, slicing 1501 out of them, allowing Muzan to escape. With the threat now gone, Tanjiro rushed to his family's side, realizing that they are all dead. However, using the transparent world, he noticed that Nezuko still had a heartbeat. However, her body looked different. Despite noticing the differences, Tanjiro didn't hesitate to put his sister on his shoulders, running towards the village to find a doctor. While running, Nezuko made them unbalanced so they fell off a cliff, with Tanjiro landing on his feet looking for Nezuko, asking her if she is okay, finding her slouched over, with a deadly presence. He then ran up to her, telling her she doesn't need to walk as he can carry her. However, Nezuko grunted and attempted to slash at Tanjiro, but Tanjiro easily dodged it, holding her down with one arm. Begging her to calm down, noticing her start to cry. He then noticed another figure arriving, with a katana aimed towards his sister, blocking it with his spare arm. Noticing his combat prowess, the new arrival jumped back to make some space, yelling, "Why are you protecting that thing?" Hearing this, Tanjiro is enraged, yelling that Nezuko isn't a thing. She is his sister, even if she changed a bit. The figure then informs him that his sister is a demon, so is now a threat to human life, so must be vanquished. Tanjiro then yells that his sister is different and will not kill anyone as she has him to protect her. The figure then says that even if you are good at fighting, as long as she is a demon, she will require human flesh to survive. He then apologizes, charging towards Nezuko. However, once again, Tanjiro blocked it, telling him he doesn't want to fight, using the transparent world to predict Tomioka's movements, dodging them. Using the backside of his hatchet to land 4 targeted attacks, to the arms, neck and chin, knocking Tomioka out. He then checked on Nezuko, noticing that she had calmed down, telling her to follow him home while he carries Tomioka. While Tomioka was unconscious, Tanjiro buried his family, praying for their protection in the afterlife. Eventually Tomioka woke up, noticing that Tanjiro had taken his Nishirin blade. Realizing Tomioka had woken up, Tanjiro apologizes for hurting him, asking him if he is okay, and introducing himself. Tomioka then states that he is fine, introducing himself as the water Hashira Tomioka Jiryu. Then asking Tanjiro how he did that and what breathing technique he used. Tanjiro then explained that it was easy, you just have to focus on your opponent's blood flow, muscle contractions and lung expansions to analyze and predict your opponent's moves and create openings to strike at. Tanjiro then states that he has no clue what a breathing technique is, however he does perform a dance called the Himikami Kagura dance while attacking. Not understanding half of the stuff Tanjiro had said, Tomioka just looked at him with a blank face and nodded, asking him where the demon was. Tanjiro then pointed towards Nezuko who was sleeping right next to him. Seeing this, Tomioka was shocked and asked him how he managed to calm her down. However, Tanjiro told him that he didn't do anything, Nezuko is just special and would never harm anyone. Tanjiro then asks about the demons, asking if there is a cure and describing Muzan, asking him if he knows of anyone fitting the description and abilities. Tomioka then explained everything about the demons, telling him that there is no known cure for demons, however the demon progenitor, the guy who probably killed your family, considering how his sister became a demon, might know something, however unlikely that is. Tomioka then tells Tanjiro if he wants to cure his sister and take down the Muzan, he should join the Demon Slayers, telling him when the next final selection is, instead of sending him to train considering he has already mastered a breathing style. After a few weeks, Tanjiro heads in for final selection, easily managing to kill every demon on the mountain before the first night could even end. Because of this, everyone in his final selection managed to survive. While waiting for his sword, he would notice that Nezuko was still asleep and shows no sign of waking up soon, worrying him. Eventually his sword would arrive and upon unsheathing it, it would turn a scarlet red color, the first one to be seen in hundreds of years. Excited, Hotaru Higanzuka exclaims that he knew he would have a red sword as he is a child of fire. Now that he had his sword, Tanjiro could finally begin taking missions, becoming a Hashira within the first week due to easily killing the required amount of demons. Over the next 2 years, Tanjiro would kill multiple members of the lower moons and their replacements, scaring Muzan every time. One time while on a mission Tokyo, Tanjiro would arrive at a village where girls had been disappearing, managing to hunt and kill the demon days before it would have originally been killed, saving multiple innocent girls. As soon as he arrived at Tokyo, he would recognize a familiar scent, identifying it as Muzan's scent, running through the crowd, placing his hand on his shoulder, preparing to finish him. However, before he could even draw his sword, he would notice Muzan had a child, covering his mouth in shock as they were human. Noticing him, Muzan would start to tremble and sweat, attempting to transform a nearby person into a demon so he could escape. However, Tanjiro easily cut off his arm before he could. So fast that it looked like his arm had just fell off. Realizing the terrible situation he was in, Muzan would throw his daughter towards Tanjiro, forcing him to catch her, allowing Muzan enough time to turn into his demon form, and try to escape, attempting to kill and convert as many people as he could to delay Tanjiro. However, Tanjiro managed to protect everyone, constantly dismembering Muzan. Due to the commotion, people would start to evacuate, giving Tanjiro enough space to actually fight Muzan, telling him that today is the day he dies and that he was born for that very reason. Within the blink of an eye, Tanjiro had already performed the 13th form, dismembering Muzan, slicing through all 7 hearts and 5 brains. However, he didn't stop there, continuing to slash at him non-stop. Despite Tanjiro's best efforts, Muzan would rupture his body, scattering chunks of flesh in all directions, but this time Tanjiro was prepared, managing to slice 1700 out of the 1800, leaving Muzan vulnerable to the point that the lowest level demon hunter could probably kill him. Knowing this, Tanjiro would search all of Tokyo and the areas around it, however he couldn't find any traces of Muzan due to him entering the Infinite Castle Fortress. Disappointed in himself for letting Muzan escape for a second time, Tanjiro would go to a udon shop, buying 5 bowls, eating them all, when Yoshio, a good demon, introduces himself. telling Tanjiro to follow him as his master is expecting him. Due to not sensing any evil intentions from the stranger, Tanjiro would follow him, entering a massive mansion-type building, sensing another demon. Tanjiro would then ask the female who she is and why she summoned him, with her introducing herself as Tameo, a demon doctor, telling him that she was impressed with his swordsmanship and ability to nearly kill Muzan. Tanjiro then asks if she knows where Muzan had gone, however she tells him that she doesn't know, but he was probably transported somewhere by one of the upper moons. He would then ask if, since she is a doctor, does she believe there could be a cure to being a demon, introducing Nezuko. Tameo would then tell him that all illnesses have a cure, however she doesn't know how to make it. She then tells him that if he can collect the blood of demons close to Muzan and some of his sister's blood, she could start to look into one. She then hands him a few vials to collect the blood in, telling him that when used a cat will come and collect them. Before Tanjiro leaves, Tameo asks him if he is aware of Yoritichi, a demon slayer from 400 years ago, who managed to beat Muzan just like him with the same technique. Tanjiro then informed her that he was unaware of him, with Tameo saying that he might be his ancestor as they look remarkably similar. Tanjiro then goes and reports back to Yubashiki about his failure to defeat Muzan once again. However, Yubashiki, while disappointed that Muzan still roams the earth killing thousands, at least they have someone who can outpower him and weaken him to such a point. While on his way to his next mission, Tanjiro meets a boy with yellow hair begging a girl to marry him. Seeing this, Tanjiro quickly separates the two, apologizing to the girl. Losing his chance to get married, blaming it on Tanjiro, the boy introduces himself as Zenitsu, deciding to follow Tanjiro, telling him that since he can't get married now, it is his duty to protect him until he can. While walking, Tanjiro introduces himself as the son Hashira Tanjiro Kamadu. Hearing this, Zenitsu is shocked, now being sure of his safety. When they arrive, Tanjiro notices two children outside the building, deciding to ask them what they are doing after gaining their trust, being told about their brother who was taken by a demon. Hearing this, Tanjiro assures them that they will be all right, as he will protect them and save their brother, putting down the box with Nezuko in it, telling them that what is inside is worth more than his life and will protect them if they are attacked. He then enters the building, hunting two demons straight away, decapitating them. He then finds a stronger demon, Kyogai, who uses his drum blood demon art to attack Tanjiro and flip the room. However, Tanjiro easily dodges the attacks, using the setting sun transformation to kill him, telling him that despite being a demon he would never disrespect what he loves, telling him his writing is good, making the demon cry. When he gets outside, he sees Zenitsu getting attacked by a man in a boar mask. Seeing this, Tanjiro rushes in, punching Inosuke in the chest, breaking a few ribs and sending him flying. Tanjiro then tells Inosuke that it is against the rules for demon slayers to fight each other, but Inosuke is excited by the challenge, and rushes in to attack Tanjiro. But Tanjiro easily dodges all of his attacks, headbutting him, knocking him out. When he wakes up, Inosuke demands for another fight, but Tanjiro declines, so Inosuke decides to follow him around, so he can get stronger. For their next mission, Tanjiro gets a letter from Yubashiki telling him to take care of a demon, who is presumably a lower moon, due to him being so close to it. When they arrive, Tanjiro easily beats the mother demon, giving her a peaceful death after she realized there was no reason to resist. He then easily dealt with the father demon, killing him like he was a defenseless child. He then smells the scent of 3 more demons, telling Inosuke and Zenitsu to take care of the isolated one while he deals with the two together. When he gets there, he overhears the lower moon Rui scolding a female demon he referred to as his sister, for not dealing with the demon slayers. Having enough of watching the abuse, Tanjiro dashes in, catching Rui's arm before he could hit his sister, telling him brothers don't hurt their siblings. Enraged, Rui tries to slice up Tanjiro, but he easily counters all the webs, shredding them, decapitating him. Seeing this, the sister demon begs for her life, saying that she has only killed a few people and only did it because she was forced to do so. Tanjiro then tells her that she is free to go then. Happy that she managed to lie and escape death, she starts to walk away, when she sees Tanjiro collapse, seeing this as an opportunity to take vengeance for threatening her. She attempts to cocoon him, but Tanjiro reveals he was faking, using Burning Bone Summer Sun to kill her. Eventually, Tomioka and Shinobu arrive, to find the forest completely empty, seeing Tanjiro tending to the injured as best he can, but he isn't really a doctor. Seeing this, Shinobu takes over the first aid, while Tanjiro talks to Kaneo, noticing her standing to the side, but he doesn't get much of a reply. They then travel back to the butterfly estate where Inosuke and Zenitsu are treated for their poisoning. While everyone is recovering, Tanjiro teaches some of the demon slayers some techniques, including Kaneo, filling in the holes of their breathing styles, allowing Inosuke and Zenitsu to learn concentration breathing constant quicker. While walking around the estate, Tanjiro sees Kaneo blowing bubbles, asking her if she likes bubbles. Unsure whether to answer or not, she flips a coin, telling him that it is her hobby, asking him if it is too childish. However, Tanjiro tells her that it is quite the opposite and is a lovely hobby which makes her unique. He then asks about the coin, with her flipping it again, explaining how it helps her to make decisions when not given a direct order. Hearing this, Tanjiro comes up with an idea, asking her if he can borrow the coin, telling her that he is going to flip the coin to see if she will listen to her own voice. Telling her that they will make it heads, flipping the coin, catching it to reveal it is heads. He then puts his hands out to give her the coin, but when she extended her arm to take it, he grabbed her hand, telling her that it is the heart that guides people, wishing her luck, running off. Before he could go, Kaneo asks how he made it land on heads, but Tanjiro tells her that if it didn't land on heads, he was going to keep on flipping it until it did, smiling brightly, saying goodbye. Running off. While on a mission, Tanjiro meets up with Rengoku, deciding to do the next mission together. The events of the Mugen Train arc goes the same up until Tanjiro wakes up, using the transparent world to locate the neck, easily evading all the eyes and tentacles, slicing it in half, derailing the train, waking up Rengoku. Rengoku then apologizes for not being of any help in the mission, but Tanjiro tells him that it doesn't matter as they managed to protect anyone. Just as they were about to leave, Tanjiro notices Upper Moon 3 Akaza attempt to attack him from the back using his technique Needle Blood Demon Art. But Tanjiro easily sliced off his arm before the attack could land. Akaza then realized that he couldn't sense Tanjiro's fighting spirit, comparing him to a plant. Noticing that the fight won't be easy, Akaza is excited and offers Tanjiro to become a demon so they can fight together forever, but Tanjiro declines, preparing to attack. Using the transparent world to predict and evade Akaza's attacks, using Burning Bone's Summer Sun to kill Akaza. Seeing this, Rengoku congratulates Tanjiro on killing yet another moon, this time being an upper rank and upper 3 nonetheless. When they get back, they are praised by the master for defeating an upper moon and surviving. For the next few weeks, Tanjiro would go on multiple missions slaying tons of demons with ease, until one day he hears a commotion originating in the butterfly estate. Hearing the screams of a girl, Tanjiro instantly jumped into action, fearing there might have been an attack. However, he is confused to see Tenjin surrounded by the helper girls, wondering whether they were hugging him or being kidnapped. Despite the confusion, Tanjiro eventually realizes that the girls were being taken against their wills, so demands for them to be released, snatching them back. Tenjin then explains how he needs 3 female core members to help him on a mission in the Red Light District. Hearing this, Tanjiro informs Tenjin that the girls are not core members, the only one is Aoi and she doesn't fight demons. So he volunteers himself and Inosuke and Zenitsu do the same shortly after. Like usual, their faces are painted with makeup by Tenjin, making them look like clowns instead of girls. However, Tenjin still manages to persuade different houses to take them in. Everything goes the same until Tanjiro finds and engages Upper Moon 6 Daki, as with his speed far surpassing her own. Tanjiro decapitates her before she could even release a single ribbon towards him. Because of this, Chiyutaro comes out earlier, putting Daki's head back on, promising to kill all that bully his sister. However, he is instantly cut down along with his sister as if it was nothing, even after Muzan had given them more blood. With the mission over, Tanjiro goes back to the butterfly mansion to visit Kaneo and check in on her progress following her heart, deciding to blow bubbles with her. Competing on who can blow the biggest bubbles and do the coolest tricks, with Tanjiro managing to keep up with Kaneo's experience due to playing with bubbles with his siblings. He would then go to the Swordsmith's village due to plot reasons, where he meets Mitsuri, who tells him about a legend about a sword somewhere in the village, and about the hot springs. So Tanjiro decides to visit it after going to the hot springs. Inside the hot springs, Tanjiro meets Genya, who mostly just ignores him due to him being a Hashira and not having the same interaction following final selection. While searching for the legendary sword, Tanjiro witnesses Muagio threatening a boy, demanding that he gives him the activation key for the Yoritichi Type 0 doll, forcing him to turn it on. Breaking one of the arms. Seeing this, Tanjiro stops him, telling him that it wasn't nice, apologizing to the boy. The boy then allows Tanjiro to try use the Yoritichi Type 0 doll, telling him that he kind of resembles the doll, and the man it was based of. Telling him it was made by his ancestors and is based on a legendary swordsman, having 6 arms to reach a fraction of his attack speed. Impressed, Tanjiro considers whether he was the same as him, however decides to attempt to fight the doll, telling Kotetsu that he might break it by accident, asking if it is okay. With Kotetsu giving the go-ahead. As soon as the doll started to swing, Tanjiro effortlessly managed to block and counter all the attacks, accidentally slicing it in half. Seeing this, Tanjiro profusely apologizes with Kotetsu telling him that it is okay until they notice something sticking out of the doll, to their shock, when pulling it out. It is revealed to be the legendary sword Mitsuri had told him about. While waiting for the sword to get maintained, Tanjiro and Muagio are attacked by Upper Moon 4, with Tanjiro instantly slicing off his head, however this makes them split into 2 then 4. After all of them are beheaded again, they all fuse into one, becoming more powerful, however Tanjiro still manages to slice its head off, and using the transparent world, locates the real body. Killing it. He then senses another upper rank demon, jumping out the window, arriving just in time to save Kotetsu, forcing the demon to retreat into his pots and shoot poison needles at them from a distance. But Tanjiro easily blocks them, protecting Kotetsu. Noticing that upper rank 5 utilizes his pots to attack and move, Tanjiro starts to smash the pots, angering upper rank 5, creating an opening for Tanjiro to behead him, blitzing him within the blink of an eye. For plot reasons, they still discover that Nezuko is immune to the sun, making Muzan put all his attention on capturing and absorbing her. The Hashira then hold training sessions with all core members, to prepare for the fight against Muzan. Yubashiki then invites Lady Tameo to the core, asking for her help with the future attack, and due to collecting enough blood samples and the help of Shinobu, they are able to give Nezuko the demon cure, beginning her conversion back to humanity. Eventually Muzan discovers the location of the master, talking to him, preparing to kill him after being insulted by Yubashiki, however he is stopped by Tanjiro who was standing in the other room. Undetectable to Muzan, slicing off his head, he is then attacked by Tameo, allowing him to begin to absorb her, and the poison in her. Suddenly they are transported to the Infinity Fortress, being separated, with Tanjiro being placed in a room surrounded by all the upper moons and lower moon level demons. Due to the demons far outnumbering Tanjiro, they believe that they can beat him, however they are mistaken as before the demons could even attack. Tanjiro had already beheaded 20 of the lower moon level demons. Seeing this, the upper moons don't really care, as they were only lower moons so were weak, however upper moon 1 Kokoshibo understood the danger they were in. Seeing Yoritichi's image overlapping with the boy. The first one to attack is Kigako, who is easily blitzed by Tanjiro, slicing off his head as if he was nothing, comparing him to a lower moon. Surprised, Dauma laughs, stating that Tanjiro might actually pose a threat to them. Activating his blood demon art to create 2 massive ice sculptures who blow freezing air towards Tanjiro and slam their hands towards Tanjiro, while Kokoshibo attacks him from behind. Despite this, Tanjiro easily cancels out the attack, and blocks Kokoshibo, pushing him back, he then setting Sun Transformation, while countering Dauma's attacks decapitating him. Trying to stay alive, Dauma desperately tries to regenerate his head, however due to being beheaded by a red blade, his regeneration is slowed down and he is unable to so dies. He is then transported far away, however Tanjiro returns within a second, and is attacked ferocious by Kokoshibo, who questions what his relation with Yoritichi is. But Tanjiro tells him that he is unaware who that is, telling him that he only knows that he is the first breathing user and creator of the sun breathing technique that he uses. Kokoshibo then asks Tanjiro if he was born with a Slayer mark, with Tanjiro confirming it. Enraged that now not only was his brother on the side of the gods, but so was this boy that resembles him. Despite fighting at full strength, Tanjiro manages to overpower him, beheading him. Upon dying, Kokoshibo realizes his mistakes, and apologizes to Yoritichi. Now with only a few lower moons and Nakami. Seeing this, Nakami transports Tanjiro to a room full of upper moons. However Tanjiro uses Burning Bone Summer Sun to easily kill them all, slicing through the walls, arriving back at Nakami beheading her, making the fortress start to collapse around him. Due to not having been blown up, Muzan regenerates faster than usual, consuming the first wave of demon slayers who encounter him, consisting of over 100 people. Just before Muzan could finish off Tameo, Tanjiro appears, slicing off his arms, grabbing her head, jumping back, passing the head to a crow. Tanjiro then jumps straight back into the fight, countering all of the biokinetic tentacle attacks and shockwave screams Muzan sent at him, repeatedly slicing of his arms and legs. While waiting for the other Hashira to arrive in case the drug doesn't work yet, and he splits himself up, allowing him to escape. Eventually the other Hashira arrive to provide support to Tanjiro, allowing Tanjiro to go full strength. Utilizing the 13th form and transparent world to effortlessly slice all 7 hearts and 5 brains, decapitating Muzan, forcing him to semi-rupture, splitting into 1,700 pieces. With Tanjiro slicing 1,600 of them and the other Hashira destroying the rest, killing Muzan. With the threat of Muzan out of the way, the Demon Slayer Corps disbands and all the Hashira survive to attend Tanjiro and Kaneo's wedding. They then have 2 children together, each having high potential. However, due to living in times of peace, they only had abnormal strength. Okay guys, this is the end of What If Tanjiro Was Born with a Demon Slayer Mark. If you enjoyed, please consider commenting, leaving a like and subscribing to find out whenever I upload. With that out the way, this is Demonic Saiyan saying bye.